best predictions uh, for 2023. I was actually going to make this video in February or January, but I was like, maybe I shouldn't do this type of stuff. But as I saw some of the things I was going to as my script, I was like, this might actually be true. So in my top, like they're not in any certain order, and so it's not like how likely this is supposed to happen or something. It's just in a random order. So first, we're probably going to see war end. Yes. Probably won't happen like right now. Slowly, bringing down the conflict. It depends on which type of end. I mean, we may have an end to the conflict like, totally, and we might reach a peaceful resolution where Russia keeps the east part of Ukraine. Or something else. And or the second ending for that is we see a slow die down in the conflict. It shifts to the background and not as many troops are sent to the fronts and something in the background, like something we might hear in the news like 2 times in a month, something like that. Very small conflict and less casualties, basically. My second prediction that we'll probably see China's decline as a superpower. They weren't really a superpower, but yes, we will see the Chinese decline. There's actually a couple of factors. First, the demographic issues surrounding the country, and issues about population, factories, and stuff. So, on child policy, that brings down the population and that will affect. So you can actually see this in Russia's population. When World War II happened, there was a gap between well the 1940s until mid 1945, where the Germans were defeated, right? So there's this gap where people were sent to the front lines and they didn't have children. So what happens now is that there's a gap where the children who like if war didn't happen, the children who would have been having children now didn't because they weren't born. So there's like this giant bump in the population where there's like this ripple. So first, when the war actually happened, and now people who are who are born now have their children here, but because these people weren't actually even born, so they didn't have children, so it goes back down. If that makes any sense. So yeah, it's kind of like the same here because of the one child policy, there's like this bump. So first when the policy introduced, and now this is where they're supposed to have children, but it didn't happen. And so you'll see that ripple just like in Russia's population. So we'll see a slow, steady decline. But once it reaches a certain point, it will just speed up and speed up. Well, you can see by a third point, India will become the most populous country, I'm guessing. Yes, may not happen in 2023, but will happen very soon. Maybe by the end of this decade. So as China's population declines, India's population will rise. And we'll see India become a global superpower by the end of this year, probably, because of, well, its strong army. Number two, its tech, um, and how many people have access to the internet. And number three, investment and economic growth. I'll explain these more. So, if a country needs peace, 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 peace. Because, well, if there's a war, India's economy cannot grow. So it needs peace. And if you want peace in time, you need strength. Peace through strength. You can watch Abhijit Chavda's episode of TRS Clips where he talks about this. So yeah, and India is growing its military capability and will probably become a local military superpower as China wasn't really one at first to begin with. Russia's power is declining, and there's this huge vacuum for which India will take over. India will probably be the strongest Asian power by in probably mid 2023. And tech, India is becoming it's a global tech hub in terms of its um, technology, in terms of its cryptocurrency, its other things. For example, now India is going to space, and now it's looking to privatize that, which leads into number three, which that its economy will start growing even more now. And so, as this happens, in this new technology will lead to more economic growth. And so basically, the strength leads to peace, which leads to more economic and technological research. And that leads to more economic growth. My third prediction, the USA are probably going to conflict once again, not with itself, but with another nation, probably somewhere in Asia. I'm probably guessing um, Iran. Even though invading, oops, it was a bad drawing. Invading Iran probably is a bad idea, but it will probably, I'm guessing, it will probably have to happen soon because of the new Iranian revolution. Yes, it's very big, uh, but some people are not calling it a revolution, but at this point it's probably a revolution. It's, well, we haven't heard about it in the news, but I'm guessing it's still snowballing and getting bigger and bigger. Because, yeah, and probably see an American incursion into Iran to help the rebels in the situation. Because if the Americans can give support to the Iranians rebelling against the current regime, they can, well, probably won't be troops, but for example, material aid, like probably some weapons as well, food if the Iranian economy is going down. And so, not only it's good for the international community, it's also for America's personal interests. Because if the European countries cannot buy oil from Russia because of the Russia-Ukraine war, uh, it means that they have to get it from another place. And the current regime wants to build nuclear bombs. So and they don't want them to sell oil because if they did, that means they would get aid. And with that money, they could put into the nuclear bombs program. It's kind of like North Korea, so nuclear bombs program. So that's the issue. Um, so if the regime changes, not only can one estimate said that 650 million barrels of oil can be released into the economy. Uh, it means that uh, probably for supporting the rebels, they probably deal where they won't really like discard the nuclear bomb research they already have and give up on nuclear dreams. So either way, if the rebellion does lose and for peace treaty, they could be like, okay, you Americans can be like, you're weak, so we could invade right now. Or if you don't want to be invaded, give up your nuclear goals and give us the oil. So yeah, fifth, um, and we'll probably fifth prediction is that we'll probably see the remilitarization of Japan. This has already begun, some people say, but in my opinion, yes, there's been drastic movements towards remilitarization, but I don't think uh it will pick up any speed until mid or beginning of summer this year because of two reasons. First, I like to call what we're in a peacetime right now because, well, China probably is not going to attack Japan or Taiwan at this time of year, and neither is Russia going to attack Japan because it's winter. And yes, Russia is advanced in the winter conflict, but the thing now is that so is Japan, and war in the middle of winter across islands will be very difficult. Summer, when everything warms up, yes, things will be made easier, but so is it made easier for the Americans. So yes, we may see a conflict break out. I'm hoping not because that would be a lot of deaths. So we probably won't see, but there is still a small possibility of conflict between Japan and uh, China and Russia. I mean, I'm probably can predict what will happen if that did happen. If you want to see that video, I will be making it soon. So stay tuned, subscribe, like, and so yeah, probably see the remilitarization of Japan for some reasons, Chinese aggression, North Korea's aggression. So yeah, and we'll probably see a pinnacle of tensions or the peak of tensions this year. And we'll probably see South Korea getting nukes. Yes, South Korea is not a nuclear country about now, but they do have enriched uranium and they are ready to assemble nukes any second. So probably see South Korea making nukes, like assembling them ready for war, and we'll probably see nukes being stationed near the border. But do not be worried that this won't make sense because this will not lead to war because of one reason. If no, South Korea had, let's say, they built a couple of nukes, like 3 or 4 nukes, and they put them on the border, it wouldn't really make sense because North Korea, with their military, can easily um, cross the border, take out these nuclear weapons, capture them, and yeah, that's it. Yeah, so yeah, that's just my guess. Yeah, and also no nukes will be used this year. Probably see a couple of more nukes tests from North Korea, which actually provoke South Korea into making nukes. Because missiles, probably, these missiles will, according to North Korea, don't have uh actually have nukes in them, but they're just missile testing, and they will land in South Korea's exclusive, not easy. So around the country there is this thing called economic exclusion zone, which is like an area around a certain country's coastline, which is kind of like extension of their territory. So that's where only Japanese company or that country's companies can operate and do stuff and navies and stuff. So yeah, most countries do accept this, but most countries do not. Some countries do not. For example, Turkey, which mean if they did that means they would be giving up like sorry, more than half of the Mediterranean agency to the Greeks because of the Greek islands. That's a lot. Okay, so yeah. um, probably see them landing into Korean waters, which will lead to a South Korean response with them making also nukes. Yeah, and we'll probably see the peak of tensions between China and the Philippines because, well, as you can see, earlier this year, Chinese and Philippine ships were kind of at conflict, but not kind of, where the Chinese ships uh, shot a laser onto an old Filipino ship that was actually giving aid to uh, a World War II Philippine ship stationed at this island, which is conflicted by between both sides. Um, so this is Philippines' claim, and this is China's claim. And so the Philippine Navy stationed a ship here, old World War II ship, which clearly could not fight against modern ships of today. They're just for show at this point. So a Filipino ship, naval ship, and one of the modern ones, went to supply that ship with food and aid to the sailors upon it. And while they was doing that in the contested zone, I'm guessing probably here was a Chinese ship, here was the island World War II ship, and here was the Filipino ship. They fired a laser, temporarily blinding the crew. So yeah, serious issue. Um, we'll probably see the Chinese Navy like incursion into Filipino claims and what do and the Air Force will probably doing, sorry I can't speak today, will be doing what they do to Taiwanese airspace and they just go over it really just like, hey kid, I'm just gonna fly over your little island. Yeah. Same here, and we'll probably see like a whole Chinese fleet, probably at one of the naval ports, um, just like that, like a huge force, uh, just like on the barrier between the Filipino claims and the Chinese claims. Yeah, and but war will not happen. If they do, probably be some small skirmishes, but both sides do not want war because if um either of them attacks, the other side will show their wrath. So if the Chinese attack, the US will probably on the Philippine side, defending Philippines because they have their own personal interests, and Philippines is also a non-NATO ally of the US. Um, yeah, and if the Filipino and American forces attack, China does have artificial islands everywhere, and they do have a huge force. And Philippine army is quite small, and probably see defeat of the Philippines. So yeah, no war between Philippines and China, only small skirmishes. And we'll probably see a huge American fleet actually tour the area of Chinese claims. So in the South China Sea, probably make a visit to Brunei, Singapore Changi Naval Base, and the Philippines in a three-part tour. And kind of like around China's claims, which is like kind of like this. So yeah. And we'll probably see more border skirmishes between China and India um, along the LOC, uh, where China will deploy some of its soldiers actually here, and we'll see the water war continue, and we'll probably see a battle actually between Indian and Chinese troops over the Action Chai area, which is a huge area of contest between the two powers. It won't lead to war, I probably end up with uh the stalemate and a peace treaty between the two. Not peace treaty, as per se, but a ceasefire. And we'll probably see a huge division between the two. Speaking of division, um, we'll probably see the Libyan civil war end. I don't know how to join Libya, so just it'll be good enough. And we'll probably see two new countries pop up. East Libya, which will be uh, the old government, not the old government, but this will be probably supported by the West, and West Libya, which is supported by absolutely nobody. And actually, we may see a breakup of East Libya into uh, uh, three more three more countries: South Libya, South Libya, North, and the borderlands. Yeah, this ship is going deep, and there's lots of things. Probably see a summit between the countries of India and um, Bangladesh to resolve the issue of the borders. I mean, yes, those have been solved, but they also strengthen military ties, defense, and make sure that both countries cooperate. Because there have been wars before, and we probably see the little country of Sri Lanka recovering from its economic crisis and with a new friend, well, old friend actually, India, have to aid, and Colombo will dump China uh, and actually make good relations with India. And and there are several reasons for the security, the economic woes and stuff. So yes, we'll probably see Colombo team up with India for defense and other reasons. Probably see uh, Sri Lankan Prime Minister meeting up with Prime Minister Modi in New Delhi and a joint military training exercise in the Indian Ocean to show that both countries can defend from China. So yeah, that was my Asian thing. Okay, I think now it's the fifth one, fifth prediction. We'll probably see the collapse of Pakistan. Yes, Pakistan will probably split up. Uh, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa will probably go to Afghanistan. Uh, POK go to India. This part probably either be still the old government or Punjab, I guess, and then this part would be Sindh and other stuff. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. We'll probably see the Kashmir united under India. Um, yeah, then India actually having good relations with these countries and having a sphere of influence over the balkanized Pakistani states. And Afghanistan also being good friends with India because of religion, but not because of religion, but of other things. And there'll be a joint sphere of influence, if I can probably draw this correctly. Yep, so we'll probably have joint spheres of influence between the two, and it's going to be Afghanistan. So a joint sphere of influence over the states and stuff. Sorry, my throat is absolutely dying. Okay, so we'll head back into Europe and into the country of Belarus. Um, Belarus will, its current regime will collapse, and it's not the reason why you think that. Well, think that what? It's not for the reason that you're probably thinking. Look, as Lukashenko kind of scared by his relations, and actually his people revolting against him, Russia will see the insanity that's happening on its border with Belarus, and Lukashenko probably collapsing. And to avoid what's going on with what happened with the Ukraine, um, Russia will actually invade Belarus, a full-scale invasion of Belarus, which Russia will come on top. And yes, Russia will get Lukashenko out of power, either take Lukashenko out of power or just totally annex the whole country. Just totally annex it. I mean, makes sense. But annexing the whole country wouldn't actually make sense. Because if the people are angry with the current leadership, annexing would actually make it even more worse. Probably see a puppet leader like Lukashenko, but who's more nice to the people and has democratic elections. But these elections will be controlled by Russia. And it's kind of like an authoritarianism, which I'll be explaining now. So basically, when a new leader comes in, Russia will have backdoor agents influencing this new leader. If this new leader fails to cater to Russia's needs or relations, this new leader will be cut out of the election. He will lose the election, and or by rigging this election by actually bribing the population or bribing the leaders of the countries themselves. I mean, what else? Or probably a split Belarus, new Russian little states which are fully puppets to the country, and probably we'll see the same problem again with what happened with Ukraine and now Belarus. Repeat itself, but slower. And we'll probably have here a proper Belarus, but under the influence of NATO. Yep, huge issues. Now, after stuff happens with Korea, we're back in Asia now. We'll probably see small skirmishes between China and Russia in Siberia. So China wants to take all of this back, but Russia is like, no, we're keeping it because of oil stuff. And yeah, so even though this Russia-China alliance makes sense now, it doesn't make sense in the future because these guys are absolute enemies because of years of humiliation in China's history, quote unquote, years of humiliation. Yes, China wants this region back, and we'll see small scale skirmishes. And that means that Russia will gain even more better ties with India. Speaking of India, India and Myanmar, who have a border like this now, so this being India and Myanmar's northern border, they'll probably, because of unstable politics in the region, India will probably have a small scale war in northern Myanmar, and which forces the Myanmar military government to kind of hold elections and stuff. And so, and yeah, but I'm not saying this war will happen directly. Probably in terms of small scale ambushes and uh, skirmishes. Sorry, yeah, skirmishes and ambushes, which will lead to huge occupation zones in Myanmar. So yeah, stuff. And Myanmar's current government will fall. My voice is gone. Okay, so now Myanmar will collapse. Well, not the country, but the government itself. We'll see the return of democratic elections and a strict polarization of the country because all these troops will be disbanded, and they will probably vote for one candidate and who is especially right wing, um, militaristic, and wants to go to war. It's a huge division in the country where um, the ex-troops will be voting for one specific candidate, uh, and the people, the ordinary man, will be voting for the popular candidate. And this issue will go on for many, many years. We'll probably see guerrilla wars pop up get all around the nation, and where countries like India and um, China will have to step in. Now that we're done with this, let's go to the land of upside down people, Australia. Australia will probably see its country growing and prospering, and probably come up with this huge idea of building solar farms. Yes, how like most of Australia is desert, and um and only the coastlines are livable for the Australian population. So probably see huge solar farms pop up, which are basically a huge layer of solar panels across the Australian continent, which will give power not only to the people on the coast and the big cities like Canberra and Perth and other cities, it also which will also be able to export this electricity to countries like Indonesia and New Zealand, to just to name a few. And so that gives a huge help in the climate crisis. Okay, that's about it. And uh, thanks for watching. And I'll see you later, guys. And remember to sub, like, and share the knowledge. Okay, see you guys. And yeah, my new video about war between in Asia and stuff will be coming out probably uh, soon, I guess. And I also have a cool project coming up. It's to do with a certain movie. Okay, see you guys. Bye.